Welcome into the CHGO Chicago Blackhawks podcast. Jay Zawaski and Greg Boysen here in studio. We're joined by Mario Tirabassi here momentarily. We're presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Hawks lose 2-0 to the Seattle Kraken on what started as a awesome night, where one of the greatest Blackhawks ever, Marian Hossa, signed a one-day contract to retire a Hawk. They announced they're going to retire his number 81 next season. But then the Hawks, after one really great shift to start the game, completely lay an egg against a supposedly inferior opponent. And before we get into all the great Hossa news, we've got to talk about this game because it was absolutely brutal for 60 minutes. The fact that you could not muster a single goal against one of the worst teams in hockey at home on a huge night with a good crowd and a good mood, that's inexcusable, man. That's inexcusable. And I know we've talked about, the rest of the season's going to be hard and there's going to be some tough losses and all those sort of things. That's all true, but you cannot lay an egg like the Blackhawks laid tonight. It was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, that one last shift, that's pretty much what we got the first night, or the first shift. The top line came out, had a really good first shift, and it was kind of from the rest of the night. You could, I think, count on one hand the amount of teams that have fewer points in the NHL than the Blackhawks. They've started this 6-game homestand with 3 of those teams that have fewer points than them. Buffalo Sabres, Arizona Coyotes, Seattle Kraken. You have lost all 3 of those games. You got 1 point against the Coyotes, overtime loss. That Buffalo game, that was an embarrassment.
Yep.
And then, the Buffalo game was before the road trip, wasn't it? So, whatever. It's still, you've lost 3 home games against 3 teams below you, and, Kevin Langen has played really good these last 2 games.
It's definitely not on him.
This is what you wanted to see out of him, especially after a couple of not-so-good games out of him. He's come back, and he's given you a chance to get 4 points against 2 teams that you should beat. Even though you're a rebuilding, struggling team, these are 2 teams you should beat. You should beat the Coyotes. You should beat the Kraken. Mm-hmm. And you don't. It's not that you just lost to the Kraken. You lost to the Kraken badly.
Yeah.
Shut out for the 8th time this season.
And Nick points out in our chat, if you want to join us on the chat, make sure you're on our YouTube channel when we're live after every game. 6 straight losses for the Blackhawks. And it's just, I don't know, man. Again, losing is one thing. And this is what we said, before the games in Florida. Like, you can take a competitive loss. It's these horrible performances we're seeing and these collapses. And it's really hard to watch. It's really hard to take. And this was a night where the Hawks, everything was positive going into the game. The crowd was in a great mood. People were happy to be there. It was the first time the Kraken were playing in Chicago. So you saw a good mix of Kraken fans there too. And to come out and play this way is just brutal. There's just no excuse for it. It's almost impossible to break down. It was sloppy. They had a 2-minute 2-man advantage and didn't get a shot on goal. That is nearly impossible. That's nearly impossible. You can't get a single shot on goal with a 2-man advantage against one of the worst teams in hockey. It's not Tampa. It's not Carolina. It's not Florida. It's the Kraken. Yeah. Come on. There's no excuse for that. That's just none.
The first period, they were outshot 17-3.
It didn't. I will say this: watching the first didn't feel that uneven.
Yeah, the Hawks had some chances. They just weren't getting the puck on the net.
Right, puck was not getting on net, but still, to me, this whole game is summarized by a 2-minute, 2-man advantage with no shots on goal. How? Greg, if you and I took a shift, we'd be able to get one puck through.
I would hope.
It's almost...
Because you know what I would do in that situation? As soon as the puck's on my stick, I'm putting it towards the net. I'm not looking to pass it back to the guy that just gave it to me.
Yes.
Stop passing and shoot the damn puck.
Well, and that's the other thing, too. They have an empty net.
Yeah,
they're down 2, and they're cycling the puck. You're down 2 with a minute left. Stop passing the puck and shoot it. My God, Tom in the chat says this team has quit. I don't know if I'm ready to go that far just yet.
I wouldn't say the team, but there might be some guys that have checked out. There are some guys that are still giving you effort. Anytime that fourth line was on the ice, at least early in the game, they were at least noticeable. Johnson and Lafferty and Kachuk were at least giving you some effort. That top line started off great, and then
I thought for sure watching the first shift of that game that the Hawks were going to walk away with this one.
Yeah.
That first shift of the game with Kane, DeBrincat, and Strome looked like a power play. They were cycling. They were getting shots through, but maybe not on goal. Lots of good looks, lots of near chances, almost scored a couple of times. And then from then on, the game just changed. And I don't know. I have publicly stumped for Derek King to retain this job, and I still think he should. Because, look, you're not going to win anything anyway, and you need a guy with a positive message. We've been through this many, many times. But at some point, you got to look and say, what's going on? And when Mario joins us, I'm going to be really curious to hear what Derek King had to say after the game. I know he's not going to be happy. That's for sure. You couldn't possibly spin this game in a positive way at all. I can't even imagine that he's going to say anything remotely positive about the game that's not regarding Marian Hossa. It was the only thing about the night that was positive, and a game that they should have won. Yeah. They're a better team than the Kraken, right?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe now, after the trade deadline, they're the worst roster in hockey, because that is how they're playing.
It's hard to argue that. I mean, this has been the frustrating thing about this team all season. They should have been better all season long.
It feels like underachievement.
Very much so.
Yep.
And it's like when that top line is clicking, things are good. But when they're not scoring, nobody else is stepping up.
Right.
Nobody else is a scoring threat. I mean, there were a couple chances tonight where it's like, guy gets behind the defense, and you're like, ooh, oh, it's Reese Johnson. Ooh, oh, it's Dominic Kubalik. None of these guys can freaking finish to save their lives.
There was a moment in the first where Reese Johnson got a puck out in front and just couldn't even really advance it. It was a prime scoring chance, but he just sort of flipped it towards the net area on the backhand. It just did not work out. You're right. Look, that's the reality. Is if DeBrincat and Kane and Strome are not scoring, then the team is not scoring.
No, that's why they've been shut out 8 times this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And look, you might want to question the veterans for not giving all they've got, but you can't expect 3 guys to carry your team every night. That's not fair. And Jonathan Toews should be on the list of one of the people you should count on, but the reality is he just hasn't been this year.
No.
He's been, third line caliber this season, and that's the reality. We all love Jonathan Toews. We just spent last week praising the guy for everything he's done here, but the reality is this year he just has not been effective enough. And again, if those 3 guys aren't scoring, and especially DeBrincat and Kane, even to put Strome in that category is tough because
Strome goes as DeBrincat and Kane goes.
Right, of course.
Right. He's not saying he's along for the ride, but when those guys are scoring goals, he's getting assists. Or when those guys are getting assists, he's usually the one scoring the goals. So, Toews has been hard to watch at times, though he's played better of late.
I agree.
But he's just not the difference maker he once was.
Yep.
And there are no more other difference makers. We get flashes. There's a nice 2-3 run there, a 3-game run there from Taylor Radish.
Yep.
But now he's kind of become a guy.
Kachuk hasn't shown much either.
No, I mean he's good to give you a hit, cause a turnover, but he's not a difference maker, not at this point. Sam Lafferty, he'd have a game or two where you're like, oh wow, we caught something here, and then it's like, oh yeah, Sam Lafferty's out there tonight. Oh yeah, I forgot he was playing tonight.
He's another one that has to be with decent players to have any sort of impact.
Yeah, so Well,
and look, Reichel plays tonight too, and there was a moment or two.
Yeah, he had
where you saw the flash.
Yeah, he had the most impressive play that he made actually started in the defensive zone.
Agreed.
Put himself out there, blocked a shot, and then followed the play back, and it created a scoring chance for him at the other end. I believe it was Lafferty that was out there. So he blocks a shot, jumps right into the play, and gets a scoring chance. Didn't score, but those are the types of things you want to see from a young player that's engaging and willing to play defense and get a bruise to stop a puck, especially at that point of the game where you're losing and you've been getting badly outplayed. But yeah, it's kind of like one of our commenters just said, what's Reichel learning up here? I mean, there is some value to giving him stuff, but yes, I think it's much more beneficial for him to be in Rockford and play those playoff games, and I think that's the plan.
Yeah, that's got to be the plan.
Yes, Kyle Davidson says, I don't mind, wasting that first year of his. Well, you kind of should.
You kind of should.
I think he's just saying the right things. He's a little gamesmanship, but I think the plan was there was no coincidence that he gets called up while they have 4 straight home games and he has 4 games left before that thing kicks over. Yeah. So he's close enough to Rockford. If you got to get him back, he can get him back. Give him a nice reward. Hey, you've had a really great first pro season here in North America. We're going to get you up here. We're going to get you some NHL games, some NHL team meals and hotels, and then we're going to send you back to make some noise in the AHL playoffs.
Yeah. I got a comment here from Tom in the chat. He says, Jay, I like King. He came in and did an admirable job initially, but other than Strome, who's gotten better? Defense is still atrocious. I think they need a brand new voice. That's definitely a fair comment. Look, yeah. I'm not. There's nothing I can argue with you on there. I will say this though: it's a tough situation to come into midstream, right? He jumps into a season that's already off to a disastrous start. Basically, what he has to do is get the team resembling an NHL team again. He did that. Now the Hawks make these trades. The team's just not good. They're just not talented.
Right.
And look,
I don't think it has to do with a voice at this point. They're just not enough talent.
It's just not a good team.
It's not enough NHL talent out there right now.
That's it.
And there are some guys that have gotten better. I think, Mackenzie Entwistle's a guy you can say, yeah, he's gotten better. I think Caleb Jones is a guy you can see some progression. Now, he still has his moments out there where you're like, ugh. But I think, that's a guy that's progressed. So there has been guys. Dylan Strome, obviously, is one of those guys that have played better under him. Jones and Entwistle are 2 guys that I think have improved.
I think it's fair to say, too, that even though he's not converting and not scoring and not putting up points, that Kirby Dach's all-around game has gotten better. He's become effective in the defensive zone and the neutral zone. So, look, it's not... I'm not bending over backwards here to defend Derek King. I think, Tom, your point is certainly valid and should be considered. I just think that when you look at where the Hawks are right now, I'm going to give Derek King at least another year. I'm not saying he's the guy for the next 5, but give him another year and see what he can do with a full training camp. Maybe he brings in some of his own assistants.
That's not a bad idea either.
Because who knows what sort of presence Mark Crawford has there. Mark Crawford's a guy who's running the defense that has not been good under Mark Crawford.
No.
And, as much as that guy's got skins on the wall, but those skins are old.
Yeah.
They've been there for a long time.
They're shriveled up, dry skins.
Yes, yes. So, I don't know. I think, this offseason is going to tell a lot. It just feels like being around, especially over the last, week or so, we have spent some time around the Hawks brass. and the people that work for the team, and it just has a feeling that Derek King is in their short-term, long-term plans.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
There's nothing. You can't. I don't think there's anything to lose except hockey games, which you kind of want to anyway.
Yeah, at this
by
point,
bringing
why
Derek
not?
King back.
Right.
But he's good with young players. He is. He's patient with young players to a degree. That's something we've not had a lot of in past years. And you're going to need a guy that needs patience these next couple of seasons. What's the key? What's it going to hurt to bring him back next year? Give him a 2-year contract or a 1-year deal with another 1-year option. Who else? Who are you dying to get?
Yeah, I just don't know exactly.
And who's dying to come take this job right now?
Correct. And look, maybe there's another Jeremy Calton somewhere that's not a total disaster, right? Like the up-and-coming coach who is off the radar of most teams or whatever that Kyle Davidson's had his eye on for a long time. I feel like if that was the case, that guy would be here by now.
Yeah, why wouldn't you have just grabbed him right when you let go of Jeremy Colleton?
Right, exactly.
Brought him in and sent him down the rock for get him in the organization. Listen, could you do better than Derek King? Yeah,
of course.
Could you do worse than Derek King? Yes.
Yeah.
What harm is it going to do to bring him back next year for this situation?
None, I don't think.
No. And if he's a complete disaster next year, then hey, look at that, first overall pick, job well done.
Yeah, right. Got a comment from I am Skokes. I think it's how you say it, Skokes. Reese Johnson's not ideal, and like that's true. Reese Johnson is not an NHL player.
No,
he's just not.
No.
There's no world where a competitive team would look at that guy and say we need him on our team. It's just, we play this game all the time, right? Where would this guy be on the 2015 Blackhawks? Rockford's third line.
Indy Fuel's third line.
Yeah, I mean, really.
And I understand why he's out there, and yes, he does bring a little bit of that energy and that grit, but
dime a dozen.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's more, hey, he's here. We don't have to.
Sure. I mean, look, he's playing hard.
They are trying so hard to keep this Ice Hogs team core together so they get to the playoffs and make the playoffs. And I am 100% behind that.
Yeah, me too.
It's important.
I just think the other thing too, and I've said this before, but not everybody hears every episode. It is slightly concerning to me that a team that is so dependent on their prospects and are so obsessed with getting Rockford into the playoffs that a team that's got 6 defensemen on it with NHL experience is battling for a playoff spot this late in the season. You would think with Kelnick and Mitchell and Beaudin and all these guys who have played at the NHL level, Isaac Phillips, on and on and on, that they'd be a little more secure in their playoff berth at this point. And that sort of makes me wonder too, like, are all of these prospects bad? Which is terrifying.
Well,
because aside from Reichel, I don't think there's a sure NHLer in the system. Like even Ian Mitchell, who's had a good year in Rockford, are you sure he's an NHL defenseman?
Not 100%.
Right.
No, I mean,
who are the sure things?
As somebody who spent the majority of this season covering the Ice Hogs and the last 3 seasons before that, Ice Hogs have the same exact problem as the Blackhawks do. They can't freaking score. When Lucas Reichel and Brett Conley, that's right, Brett Conley, when that line isn't scoring, nobody's scoring.
Yikes.
So, they've had Andre Alter-Balmarkian has come on and Michael Tepley have come on. When they've played with Lucas Reichel, they've been a very good line. But that's it. They've got the same problem the Blackhawks do. They're a one-line team.
That scares me, man.
Yeah, there's not a lot to be excited for. This rebuild is kind of starting from scratch. Listen, we bitch and moan about Stan Bowman all the time. He has screwed this organization as it comes to their future. But we can't be mad about that anymore. Yeah, it is what it is.
Now it's up to Kyle Davidson to fix it.
Kyle Davidson's got to clean up this mess, and it's not going to happen in one off season. It's not going to happen in one trade deadline. It's not going to happen in one draft.
Yep.
It's going to take years to get this back on track.
Nick in the chat says Kyle Davidson has a hell of a job ahead of him.
Yeah, I don't.
That's true. And like I think we said when the hire was made official, if in 5 years the Hawks are maybe contender is too strong, but a team where if you try real hard, you can maybe squint and see a conference final, maybe, just maybe, Kyle Davidson will have done his job. If he can get that done in 5 years, I think that's a tough ask. Yeah. From where he's building now, look,
if he can make the Blackhawks in 5 years the Minnesota Wild of this year, job well done.
Yeah, and you have to bring DeBrincat back.
Yeah,
like the fact that it's even like, well, I don't know, maybe they should. No, there's no one you're going to trade Alex DeBrincat for. It's going to be better than Alex DeBrincat. That's just not a thing. There's no way it's going to happen.
Right.
All right, I see Mario is about to join us here from the United Center, but before he jumps in, I want to remind everybody the best way to support us all here at CHGO is to download the PointsBet app. When you do, make sure you use that code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making a $50 or more first-time deposit at PointsBet. Your home for live in-play betting. It just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, Live NBA Same Game Parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live NBA Same Game Parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. Want more? You can also boost your live Same Game Parlays. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can sign up from start to finish on your couch. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Let's bring in our buddy Mario Tirabassi, who is at the United Center. Mario, what did we hear post-game from Derek King and company?
Yeah, Derek King was, as you can expect, not happy with the effort from the Blackhawks tonight. Said there was no urgency with the team. Too many passengers, and he mentioned that, this is a team that has a lot of players that are playing, auditioning basically for jobs next season, either in Chicago or elsewhere. And basically that to stick in the NHL, they have to compete better. There's inconsistencies in their urgency and the compete levels. And outside of the start of the game, the Blackhawks were just run out of the first period by a Kraken team that, I know we said it against the Coyotes, but this is a team that you should not be run off the ice against. This is a team in Seattle that the Blackhawks should be even or theoretically better than, and they didn't show it tonight. So, it's a 60-minute game that you had to sit through to get to the good stuff of Marian Hossa and all that. So we're in the slow march to the end of the season, and it's just an effort that it's hard to get overly mad about, but you feel like the night's wasted.
Yeah, I was kind of pissed to start because, look, you can justify losses when you look at this roster, but Greg brought it up. The teams you've played recently, Buffalo, Arizona, Seattle, these are the teams you're allegedly better than. And when you come out on a night like tonight and lay an egg against a team that's bad at home, this to me was an inexcusable loss. I can take it. I can take a loss. I get it. But you can't have a 2-minute two-man advantage and do nothing with it. Can't generate a shot. That to me, that's just lack of focus. That's just lack of sticking to the plan. That's not coaching. The coaches aren't saying, like, go fumble the puck and not shoot. Of course not. That's players failing to execute. It's players failing to focus. It looked like they were just sort of checked out from start to finish. I still think we have this symptom of the Hawks just assuming they're going to walk over teams. Those days are over. There is no sure victory for the Blackhawks anymore, and it seems like they are the last group of people in the world to realize that about themselves.
Yeah. Well, and it just seems like, the team is out of the postseason race. These games in the standings do not matter. And it feels like to me that Derek King is kind of battling uphill against the players sometimes to get them engaged in these games. We've heard it after a number of games where they don't start on time, their compete level's not where it needs to be. They lack urgency, things like that we heard tonight. And it's just like over and over and over, we hear the same things. And the coach can only do so much. Derek King, for the NHL career he had, he can't go out there and do it himself. The players have to have the ability to get up for some of these games at the end of this season, these games that don't matter, and put forth an effort to show that they care. We talk about the GAF meter, the given F meter, and it's been low, surprisingly low, even at the end of this season where there's really nothing to play for. Guys are just kind of individually either playing for jobs or just trying to get to the end of the season healthy, fine. But the meter has been low, and it's not encouraging for a team trying to set a tone and an identity going into the next season to have that meter low. And it seems like from Derek King, without naming names, he is kind of looking at some of either the star players or the young players that are quote unquote part of the rebuild. So if that's his approach, is to get those players going, you got to see it. And consistently, we haven't seen it at this point as we get to the end of the year.
Well, there's been some contradiction with what King has been saying these last couple of weeks. We've heard it after practice and morning skates when he's talking about guys like Mackenzie Entwistle and Philip Kurashev, and he's talking about this rotation. They trying to get guys ice time. And he said, I'm telling them it's not necessarily based on performance. It's just your time to sit and let somebody else play. But then we hear about the effort is not there. So maybe this rotation needs to be based on performance. And it doesn't matter if you're one of the young guys. Hey, if Jonathan Taves looks like his GAF meter is at 0, maybe sit up with us in the press box next time. Send that message to the team. Maybe you start doing it on performance. It's probably too late to do anything like that. And what if what is that really going to do big picture? But instead of just saying, hey, we're rotating these young guys in and out, it's not based on performance. Maybe base it on performance for some of these guys that think they have a lineup, they have a spot in that lineup every night, and stop rotating out these young guys, and maybe take a game off for one of these guys. Dominik Kubalik, why do we got to watch him every night at this point? I know he was scratched for a game, but what's he doing right now? Why does he need to be out there every night?
Well, how about Tyler Johnson?
What does he bring to this team?
7 minutes, nothing. No shots, no shot attempts, no missed shots, no hits, no giveaways, no takeaways, no block shots, and he lost a face-off.
The only time I noticed him tonight is when he fell down.
Yeah. I look, and we've been through this a lot, and we're all still trying to figure out what the hell's going on with Erik Gustafsson and why he's in the lineup. And look, he didn't play poorly tonight. You look at the stat sheet, and he was okay. But, oh, my God. Erik Gustafsson has no future here. None. Why? Riley Stillman should be playing. Alex Vlasic should be playing. Philip Kurashev should be playing. Mackenzie Entwistle should be playing. I don't need to see Tyler Johnson again. I'm sorry. No. I just don't. Nothing against him. I know it's been a really tough year for him injury-wise. He's a guy who's got a great reputation around the league as a guy who plays his ass off, great teammate, yada, yada, yada. That's all fine and good. But 7 minutes of Tyler Johnson bringing nothing? give it to a kid and give him that exposure and let them play.
Phil Kershev would do more than that in 7 minutes.
I don't need to see Gustafson or Johnson again. Look, and I know Johnson's kind of a different situation because you're kind of stuck with him here for the near future because of the contract, but
buyout. Excuse me, I got something in my throat.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's
you're tied to him unless you do something a little bit drastic.
Yeah.
Oh, and the thing too is, to the point of ice time and whatnot, Caleb Jones and Erik Gustafsson both over 20 minutes tonight. Seth Jones almost played a half hour, and you have Alex Vlasic, who has theoretically some fresh legs. He played the most that he's played all season, but it's just like, why? To your point, why do we still have to see Erik Gustafsson? He actually spoke to the media after the game, which I was like, why are we talking to him? But he said, like, I'm still out here trying to prove that I can play in this league, and still trying to basically put out tape for next season. He knows he has no future here. So maybe it's Derek King throwing him a bone saying, hey, we'll try and get you some more ice time. But at this point of the season, I'm with you, Jay. I don't care that you see Erik Gustafsson.
Tape out there. None of it's good.
No, yeah, exactly. Everyone in the NHL knows what Erik Gustafsson is. Yeah. If you want to give him a contract for next season, that's on you.
That's why the Blackhawks got him for nothing.
And I think the thought of like, hey, we're going to do you a solid and try to up your value. No. They did him a solid by bringing him over from Europe in the first place. They did him a solid by bringing
still here this season.
Yeah, and bringing him back this year.
Done him a solid.
Because Caleb Jones was hurt. It just, I don't know, like a lot of the things that are happening roster-wise are contradictory from what the plan is. I don't need Gustafsson. Shut down Tyler Johnson and just say, you know what, he's been banged up all year, let him sit. This is not Connor Murphy. Connor Murphy's an established guy. He's a long-term guy. He's here for the future. He's an alternate captain. When he's healthy, he should play. He contributes when he's playing. The other thing you mentioned too, Mario, why is Seth Jones, who's going to be here for like almost a decade, playing a half hour in a game that doesn't matter?
Running him into the ground.
Why exactly? Why run? Why run him into the ground? It's one thing if you're chasing a playoff spot. Now, play him 23 minutes, 22 minutes, and let these get Stillman in there. Let Vlasic play. I don't know. I just don't understand. To me, there's a big disconnect between, okay, we're rebuilding, but let's make sure we get these veteran guys ice time and then run our stars into the ground. It's just crazy. Patrick Kane with 23 minutes. Alex DeBrincat, 22 minutes.
I get that they're still trying to win games. Of course, it's professional sports. You're not actively trying to lose,
right?
But I don't know. I think part of it is Derek King trying to get some wins to help himself keep the head coaching job beyond this season. But at this point, it's contradictory. We get these little snippets of, this is the plan for the rebuild. This is, these are players you're going to see moving forward. And then tonight, half an hour of Seth Jones, 20 minutes to Gustafsson. Like, I don't know. I don't get it.
It doesn't seem like maybe there's enough communication from the front office to behind the bench to say, hey, this is what we need to do. Because I don't think Derek King getting that interim tag removed from his name should matter about how many wins he has. At least not by now.
No.
Right. I would hope that decision's already been made. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm allergic to all this bad hockey.
That is a first.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long couple years if that's true.
No, I would assume that the outlook for coaching next season already is either figured out or there's wheels in motion behind the scenes to get somebody besides Derek King in here, but I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think Derek King, for at least next season, sticks around.
I agree.
Because we've talked about it. What do you have to do for next season? You don't need to have a coach that's going to come in and change things up. You don't need a coach that's going to come in and try and win as many games as possible. You need a coach that can have some continuity, have a rapport with young players, and go from there. Derek King's the kind of coach that can do that.
He definitely has those moments, like the things we're talking about tonight, where you're like, well, what are we doing here? But the bottom line is when you have a young team, you need a coach that just simplifies everything, and that's Derek King's greatest asset.
Right.
He is really good at just making things simple and figuring out places where guys can succeed, and that's all you really need for a young team is just get these guys to go out and just play their each individual game, be who you are, play simple, don't think so much, act on your instincts, just be where you're supposed to be, and that's all you got to worry about. And he does a very good job at that, and that's why I think he should come back next season. Beyond that, who knows?
Yeah. All right, Mario, you want to do the 4 stars before, or the 4th star of the game before we get to our Hossa conversation?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I don't know. This was kind of like...
Well, surprisingly, see, this is going to screw us up. The 4th star of the game is we pick a guy that wasn't on the 3 stars. We all figured Kevin Lankinen was going to be one of the 3 stars. He was not.
Oh.
So this kind of screws up our whole situation. So,
well, the graphic is made.
Yes.
So we're sticking with our picks.
It was Philip Grubauer, Alex Wenberg, and Jordan Eberle were our 3 stars of the game, all from the Kraken. We had all figured Lankinen would get the nod, so that's where our picks.
All right, so he should be, but the graphics already made. I'm going to give it to Kirby Dach. There were a few flashes of him tonight. Generated a couple nice rushes. I don't know. They all sort of sucked, so he sucked the least. Congratulations. Here's your T-shirt.
You have the full lineup to pick from, and no one was impressive.
Right. Well, because we disqualified Kevin Lankinen. I went with a guy we've talked about saying that he probably shouldn't be playing, but I went with Reese Johnson because at least I noticed Reese Johnson. You know,
there he is.
That's more than I could. Yeah, I was like, hey, there he is. He's in front of the net and didn't get the puck on the net, but he had a shot. He had 3 hits. He brought some energy early in the game. He was noticeable, and that's more than I could say for half the team.
Congratulations on being out there.
Yes. Congratulations on making me realize you were in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, Greg, you said it at the game. You said it at the game. You said when Reese Johnson's the one getting the best scoring chances, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, my 4th star was not in the lineup tonight, but he was a member of the Blackhawks for the couple of hours that he was around. It was Marian Hossa. I mean, honestly, the reason that the building had as many people as it did tonight was because Marian Hossa was going to be around, signing his 1-day contract before the game, which was just an awesome event. Great to see him around again. And then, you know, the news that number 81 is going to go into the rafters next year, just an awesome moment and an awesome honor for one of the best players that the organization has ever seen, and one of the most key members of the modern dynasty that was the Blackhawks. So, you know, it was Hossa's night. Hossa night. Anyways, that's the second time I've made that joke today, but first time for our audience.
That's all right. It's fresh for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm with you.
Yeah, it was
sure.
Hossa's big night, and you know, being able to. This is the first time I've ever, you know, been in a media availability with Hossa, and just being in the same room, I was just like, oh gosh, this guy. He just. I don't know. I don't want to gush over him, but like.
Go ahead.
He's just the best.
He is. He is.
That's the best way I could.
He was the only person. Great. He was the only person under contract by the Blackhawks today that got the crowd to cheer. So he's our 4 star.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Marian Hossa, you're getting a CHGO shirt.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
And he, you know, he might be around Chicago long enough that we can send it to him and not have to do international shipping. So.
Yeah, he was talking during the intermission about potentially joining the Hawks in a more official role. And he said, well, we're kind of working out the details, just like we talked about on our All Hossa All the Time show the other day. Like, whatever he wants to do, just let him do it. Because I don't think there's anything he's going to do poorly. I think if he wants to be in management, if he wants to coach, fine. If Marian Hossa says something to me, I'm listening. I'm taking that advice.
What he said was that he's had discussions with the Blackhawks about a role with the organization. There's no details finalized, but the way that he put it was basically like, I'm going to be around. So whatever capacity it is, something with Hossa involved is coming, which is great news.
Can never have too much Marian Hossa.
Nope. No. All right, Mario, we're going to let you go home, man. It's been a long day for you. Thanks for the post-game update. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. By the way, everybody, we should mention this now. Tomorrow's podcast is audio only. So look for it around 3 o'clock or so, 3:30, somewhere in that range.
Won't be a live show, but you'll still get your hour's worth of Blackhawks and maybe some other stuff talk tomorrow sometime in the afternoon, but we'll let you know when that's popping open.
Yep.
While we took a break from this game, we got some other things we want to talk about. I think it's a good time to bring up the PointsBet Play of the Week.
Yes.
For all you superstar gamblers out there, make sure you have joined on the PointsBet app. That's what we all do here at the CHGO office. And we got a Play of the Week, a bet that Jay and I talked about, and we're going to step off the ice for a moment. It's just for a second here.
Put on my skate guards.
And, opening day started today. I'm rocking my Harry Carey Holy Cow shirt. Somebody gave me some love for that in the comments earlier. It's perfect day. There it is. Thank you, the Dash Law. It's one of my favorite shirts. If you can't really see it, it's got Harry Carey and some cows with halos on it. So it worked. The Cubbies won today. Tomorrow, the White Sox.
Yep.
Open in Detroit. So that's going to be our PointsBet Play of the Week. The White Sox at minus a run and a half is currently at plus 135. I think that's a really good bet because you got Lucas Giolito starting for the White Sox. I hear he's good.
Confirm.
I hear he's pretty good.
Can confirm reports.
He's their Hoss. He's their guy. And the Detroit Tigers are throwing something on the mound called Elvin Rodriguez. I'm sure he's a nice kid.
He looks like a nice guy. He's very handsome.
I mean,
handsome
Elvin is a cool name. Yeah. I'm a big Elvin Bishop fan. So
I liked Elvin on the Cosby Show.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So
he had a
5.7 ERA in the minor leagues last year.
Yeah.
And he's pitching against a pretty good major league lineup tomorrow. And Lucas Giolito. So I think the Sox at minus 1.5 runs is a pretty good bet. And at plus 135, that's some good value right there.
Yep.
So that is our PointsBet Play of the Week. Take the Sox, give up the 1.5, get those plus 135 odds. I think you're going to be okay at the end of the day.
Just be warned, though, my PointsBet play of today was to take the over in the Blackhawks Kraken game, which was 6.5.
That's why we went with baseball. I also put $1 on Tiger Woods to win the Masters at plus 3,300.
You are a wild man.
Hey.
Oh, God. Comment in the chat from Nick P. Hossa for head coach. Maybe that's why he's like, we just can't talk about the details yet because they haven't fired Derek King, but I'm going to be the new coach.
But see, I don't know if that would work because the sun shines on Marian Hossa and there'd just be a big pool of water in front of the Blackhawks bench.
That would be tough. I also don't want Hossa in any role where people are going to stop liking him.
This is true, too. Marian Hossa smiles way too much to take this job right now.
Yeah.
Why? He's such a great guy. Why turn him into a miserable bastard?
I'm surprised he did not bail during the intermission.
He might.
Because I would have been like,
he had his media
interview.
He had his media availability in the second intermission. I'm willing to bet he did not go back up to his seat for the third period.
He's like, all right, well,
I'm beating this traffic.
Look
I'm
at the
out
time
of here.
there. I got an Uber. I got to catch.
My daughter, who was born in Chicago, she's calling me. I got to go.
Guys, I see that Powell's he made his first bet on PointsBet today.
Nice.
I've made this mistake with first score as well. You got to be careful not betting too much. It's usually a pretty good payout. So I just make sure that I bet to my means on the first score, and you might get lucky on it. It's just
That's it. That's like a coin flip.
Yep.
If even that, it's not even that lucky. Just a reminder, by the way, when you sign up for PointsBet, use that promo code CHGO. When you sign up, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So make sure you take advantage of that whole thing.
And you get a free T-shirt, right?
Yeah, the whole deal, the whole schmear.
You get all kinds of cool
free
stuff.
T-shirt, all kinds of stuff.
Hope Powers08 used that promo code, and well, hopefully you learned a valuable lesson. You said you bet $20 on that. That's a risky bet.
That's a big bet.
I would have taken a 0 off of that, but and then maybe another $1 off of that. But you got more stones than I do. I'll give you credit for that. But you got to. Yeah, I guess he took the adage: you got to bet money to win money. So
I guess so. Just not today.
Just not today.
Double down. Hedge your bets. Bet the White Sox -1.5 tomorrow. That feels like free money, which means it's not.
Which means they're going to lose by 9.
But that's our PointsBet play of the week. So check it out if you're into it. Remember, use that code CHGO. So one thing I wanted to talk about, and I want to qualify these comments with Marian Hossa, absolutely 100% deserves to have his jersey retired. Period. End of statement. I did find myself a little bit surprised that he's going to be the first one, simply because I thought they were going to wait until kind of everybody was done. And I don't know if they would do it as one thing.
No, I
don't
think so.
It would be Taves, Kane, and Keith maybe, then like Hossa, Crawford, Seabrook. I don't know. I was a little bit surprised, and not disappointed by any means, but a little surprised that Hossa will be the first one to go up there. But he's the first one retired, so I guess it makes sense.
There's 2 reasons for that. You just mentioned he's the first one officially retired. And they got to sell tickets somehow next year to this team. People are not going to be beating down the doors for Blackhawk tickets next year. So it's like, hey, you know what? We at least can guarantee one sellout next year.
They should do the Hossa banner like a letter at a time. Yeah. Game 3 against Ottawa. They'll put the M up. They're going to need something.
That's the fun thing we were talking, like, who should it be against? And you said when Ottawa's in town would be the perfect thing. But I want to be petty.
Yeah.
I want it against the Red Wings.
Detroit would be fun.
Just rub it in their face.
Remember when he chose not to come back?
Well, no. Remember that time Ken Holland decided to give Johan Franzen all the money instead of Marian Hossa? Yeah, how'd that work out for you guys? Let's be petty. Come on.
I'm down for all the pettiness. Adam Burish in the pregame ceremony, of course, getting the crowd pop when he mentioned Detroit as a place where Hossa played. But the Hossa stuff was great tonight, man.
It was.
They handled it really well. Rocky Wirtz was at the mic and didn't say anything crazy, so that was good. That's a win.
Yes.
It's just cool. And I mentioned this before. It feels so good that Marian Hossa will go down in history as a Blackhawk. That to me is awesome because he had some really great years in Ottawa and Atlanta where he put up some big numbers. They're probably the best personal seasons of his career.
But nobody knew.
Yeah, right.
Nobody
right.
knew. Yeah, and then he, and he even said during the little presentation before he signed his contract. And we kind of talked about that on our Marian Hossa episode. And if you haven't listened to that, that was Tuesday's episode.
It's a good one.
An hour on nothing but Marian Hossa. So if you're watching on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Click that like button, subscribe. Go back to Tuesday's show when we're done and listen to that. Or if you're listening to the podcast, wherever you're listening to your podcast, we talked nothing about Marian Hossa. We alluded to this fact, and he pretty much said that the reason he came to Chicago is because of that playoff series against the Blackhawks when he was with Detroit, the 2009 Western Conference Final that Detroit won. But he said, I wanted to win a Stanley Cup, and I saw that this team was young, and they had a chance to win, and he was the final piece, as they say. And so that was fun to hear. It was good, to just reminisce and feel the energy in the building, talking about the 3 cups and those moments. And, he described the 17 seconds in Boston. I thought that was a lot of fun where he was just like, hey, we were all celebrating that first goal.
Yeah.
I took a drink of water and we all looked up and like, wait, did we just score again? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, that's exactly how I felt.
Well, the other cool thing he brought up, and I hadn't really thought about this before, is when they won against Tampa in Chicago, he mentioned it was the first time where the Hawks were able to really absorb the fact that they were going to win. They had a cushion, and the time was ticking down. And as the time ticked off, the bench was getting more and more excited. They win it in overtime in Philly. Yep. They do 17 seconds in Boston, and that's chaos. So the Tampa win,
2-goal lead with 2 minutes to play.
They had some time. They had some time.
They were able to take it in the moment.
Yeah,
and that was really cool to hear too.
That was cool.
I never thought of that either. I mean, so that had to be even special too, because you could feel it coming and you knew it was going to happen. That anticipation for that final second. I was there that night as a fan, and you felt it build and build and build. I can't even imagine what it felt like on that bench.
Yeah, such a cool thing for him. It's funny. I don't think I've heard any Hawk mention that since they won that cup. Quote from Marian Hossa tonight: "It was my best decision ever to sign with the Blackhawks."
I agree.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know what other decisions he's made in his life, but the ones I know of, this is the best one.
His wife's pretty attractive.
Well,
Nah, Hawks.
Yeah, gotta go with the Hawks, my friend.
It's just cool that he loves it. You could tell he got choked up.
He did. He's a little bit of emotion on stage
talking about how much the city means to him.
Yeah,
and that was the thing. Like, he was talking about his daughters being born here and all this stuff. And when he started talking about what the city means to him, that's when he teared up and kind of had to take a break. And the crowd let him hear it in a good way when that happened. But it's just cool, man. Like, that guy. I've always said, if you were to build the perfect hockey robot, it's Marian Hossa. And crazy. And I saw Mario tweeted out earlier today, Hossa describing the medication he was taking to continue playing with the skin condition. He compared it to chemotherapy. Like, that's how rough those drugs were on him. So imagine he's playing, taking medication that strong that is ravaging his body, and he still is the effective player he was. It's unreal.
That's why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
And it's why it was so like, wait a minute, Marian Hossa can't quit because of a condition? What?
Right.
No, he's superhuman. Like, that stuff doesn't happen to people
that's why
like
the
Hossa.
people, the butthurt fans in St. Louis who like to say, "Oh, salary cap circumvention, blow it out your ass."
Yeah, they're so much better with Hossa.
Yeah.
Even if he's not scoring at the pace he's used to, you still have one of the best defensive forwards in the game playing for your team at a pretty reasonable deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that anyone who thinks that it was the case, cap circumvention, no. The other ones, yes. That one, no, not so
Brett
much.
Seabrook, 100%.
Yeah,
but
right.
No, to say that about Hossa, you're either butthurt, an idiot, or a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think that's totally a
You're
fair
a butthurt
assessment
idiot.
to make. Butthurt idiot.
Sound like Chris Jericho. You stupid idiot.
Hey, it's great to see. We're seeing a bunch of new faces here on the chat, which is wonderful. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Make sure you become a CHGO member. Go to allchgo.com and sign up. You get post games and live shows from every team every day. Post-game shows, obviously. You get access to our premium written content for members at the allchgo.com. Dope merch, as the kids call it. You get a free shirt when you become a member and access to our own members-only Discord. Mario did an AMA on the Blackhawks Discord today. We're going to be a lot more active in the Discord in the coming weeks and months. It's been a bit of a roller coaster getting this thing launched and getting the show squared away. And
it's been a roller coaster on steroids.
Yeah, and finding our groove
cocaine
as hosts and all that stuff. But now that we're settling in, we're finding our space as a company and as a show, we're going to be a lot more active in those channels. So jump on, become a member, join us on the Discord. We'll probably do an AMA, one of us every week. We'll be chatting with y'all during some intermissions and stuff. So jump into that CHGO membership, allchgo.com for more information. But we'd love to see you in the Discord and wearing that CHGO merch around town. It's starting to arrive. Yep. People are sending us photos of the CHGO merch.
It's so cool watching the stuff on Twitter. Everybody wearing their shirts. It's so awesome. It's like, man, I can't believe I literally pinch myself every morning that this is real life. We sat in the press box today. You turn to me and go, "Do you believe we're getting paid to do this? This is our job."
Seriously,
I don't believe it.
I was talking to Jake Flanagan, one of our managers today, and I'm like, every day I got to pinch myself that I get to cover the Blackhawks. Like Sunday, we're in the suite and we're rubbing elbows with Danny Wirtz and Jamie Faulkner, and then
I was working.
we're at practice yesterday, shooting the crap with the writers and everything. Then today we're in the press box talking to John Weideman, talking to everybody walking around. It is surreal, man. And this is a team that I have covered as a side project for, over a decade. And now that this is my life, like, I'm so grateful to, first of all, Brandon and everybody at CHGO, but to all the people who have jumped on and supported us since launch. Everybody who's with us here at 11 p.m. on a weeknight, talking Hawks with us in the chat. Everyone who's listening to the podcast. It's just unbelievable. So thank you all for the opportunity for us to do this.
We wouldn't be sitting in these chairs without you guys watching, you guys listening, you guys becoming members. It's all because of you guys, and it's twice tonight we got recognized at the United Center, and people came up and said, "Hey, we love your podcast."
I'll never get used to
that. Blows my mind. Like, it's like, oh wow. Like, I still think that my mom is the only person that reads my stuff. So when somebody sees us at a Hawks game and says, "Hey Jay, hey Greg, I love your podcast," it's like, shit. Like,
my mom said to me tonight, "Are you at your job? I don't understand." I'm like, yes, that's where I am right now. By the way, speaking of CHGO, I just retweeted it from my Twitter account at Zawaski. Go watch the Project CHGO video on YouTube.
So cool.
It is phenomenal. They documented start to finish the launch of CHGO. It's such a cool thing. It's brilliantly produced by Ryan Green over at DNVR.
He needs to win an award of some sort for
It is phenomenal. And you guys can tell, like, when you're waiting for the podcast to begin, the great intro video that plays with all the drone shots of the stadiums. That's all right. It's just fantastic. So go watch that launch video on YouTube. I'm sure everyone at CHGO has retweeted it. I just did it from my account at Zawaski. So go check that out. It's fantastic. We got a note from Sean who says, "Best damn post-game show and podcast, boys." We appreciate that.
Thank you, Sean.
And everybody.
The Rev is giving us some love. You're one of our biggest fans. We appreciate hearing from you in the chat.
The Rev bringing up your tweets from practice, guys. They're great. It's fantastic. I've enjoyed watching the show from home the last couple of days.
Well,
so
you're paid to say that.
No, this is real. I'm watching it when I'm not getting paid, I swear. And I have the CHGO Blackhawks shirt coming.
Nice.
I had another one that arrived. The CHGO Bulls arrived yesterday. They fit great. They're the right fit and everything, and they're a very comfortable shirt. That's the
I'm the weird, like, dangerously between double X and XL.
Yes.
I never know what to order. I went with the XL. Got a little bit of room in there, enough for when I ruin it in the laundry, and it'll shrink a little bit. It'll still fit, but it's super comfortable. The shirts are wonderful. So allchgo.com, and if you sign up to be a member, you get access to the log. You get a free shirt.
Yep.
So do it.
We appreciate the love. We're finding our groove here, and we've got a few more games to cover, and then we're going to get into a very interesting off season.
Yeah.
And when the off season approaches, you're still going to get us five hours a week. So we love hearing the feedback and what you guys want to talk about, because we're going to need to lean on you guys.
Yeah, no doubt.
Come July and August when we're running out of ideas.
Remember, too, we are very much expecting a special guest.
Yes.
Next week. Look for that to happen Wednesday. As soon as we get confirmation, we'll let you know. But
it's going to be huge.
We might be joined by Blackhawks royalty, if you will. If you want to piece those clues together, feel free to do that. And reminder, tomorrow's show is not on the YouTubes. It is podcast audio only. Look for that around 3:30 or so.
Yep, we'll get it out there on all the Twitter accounts and all that stuff.
Yep.
And we love to hear from you. Shout us out at the CHGO_Blackhawks if you're on Twitter. Give us a question. We'll try and get to it at some point over on an off day show. Discord too. We're going to try and be more active in there as well. You guys have paid to be in there, so it's our duty to go in there and participate. So as we're getting more comfortable here and everything kind of falls into place, we're definitely going to be more interactive with all you guys, because this is, without you guys, none of this is here.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what Discord was until I started here.
Me too.
What is this?
I thought Discord was
I got my flip phone.
I thought Discord was an emo band.
I had heard of it. I'd been invited to one of them. No clue.
Yeah,
I had no clue.
I'm not 18 and I don't play video games, so it's right over my head. But I'll try my best.
All right, we've got 2 guesses in the chat on who the guest is going to be. We've got Powell says CM Punk, Skoke says Kinger. One of you is correct.
Yes.
All right. Let's wrap things up with that little tease. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Remember, we are presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. For my partner, Greg Boysen, and Mario Tirabassi, who is headed home. He's taillights. I'm Jay Zawaski. Thanks for listening, as always, to the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
Mics are off.